Okay, so you know how sometimes you stumble on a story and it's like, whoa, okay, this is more than just a headline.
Right, definitely.
Like this whole JPMorgan Jeffrey Epstein thing, and then that New York Post article you sent about this charity dinner. Wild.
Yeah, no, totally wild. Like, who knew a seating chart could be so revealing?
Right. So picture this. It's the Al Smith dinner in New York City. All these like fancy people, politicians, Wall Street
Oh,
types.
yeah, the Al Smith dinner, legendary for those roast speeches, right?
Exactly. It's a big deal. And this year, all eyes are on, who Donald Trump giving a speech that's, well, let's just say making headlines.
Uh-huh.
But here's the thing. Right next to him at the dinner, Mary Erdoes.
No way!
Yes, way top executive at JPMorgan.
Wow, so it's like the who's who of finance and politics all in one room.
And this article, it's like it connects Erdoes to Epstein, and suddenly this dinner, it's not just a dinner, you know?
Oh, it's never just a dinner, especially with this crowd.
Yeah.
It's all about those hidden connections, the undercurrents of power and influence.
So for anyone who might not remember all the details of the Epstein case, can you remind us why this connection to Erdoes is a big deal?
Absolutely. So Epstein was a financier convicted of sex trafficking, right? And it turned out he was a client of JPMorgan, specifically within Erdoes' division.
And there are lawsuits against JPMorgan claiming they enabled his crimes, right?
Yeah, and those lawsuits don't directly name Erdoes, but get this, they show these emails she sent about Epstein. Like, there's one where she's literally asking a colleague to reach out to him for information about the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme.
Hold on, wait. She's reaching out to a convicted sex offender for financial advice? Serious?
I know, right? And it gets even weirder because this email was from 2008, 5 years after his conviction.
So they're still going to him for advice on money after everything that happened, but didn't JP Morgan say they cut ties with Epstein years before?
That's what they're saying, but those emails really make you question that, don't they? It's like they're trying to protect themselves even if it means hiding their connections to someone like Epstein.
It's almost like they wanted to be in the club, but not be seen with him when it wasn't cool anymore, you know?
Right, like trying to have it both ways, benefit from the connection, but not the consequences.
And it makes you wonder, how often does this kind of thing happen where power and influence just sort of protect people from the same rules?
That's exactly what's so important about this story. It's
Yeah.
not just about one bad guy. It's about the system that allows this to happen.
So, okay, what about Erdoes herself? She hasn't been charged with anything, and JP Morgan's kind of like, well, those emails, well.
Yeah, she's been pretty quiet, actually.
Yeah.
The article mentions that at that dinner, the Al Smith one, while Trump's going on, she's there, like, sometimes laughing, other times not so much.
So now we're judging her reactions at a dinner to figure out what she knew.
It's all we've got. It's like trying to read between the lines when there aren't even any lines. We see the emails at the dinner, but what's she really thinking? What did she know?
She's like a ghost in this whole thing, always there, but never really saying anything.
And that's what's so frustrating. It's like trying to solve a mystery where the prime suspect is basically invisible.
So where do we even go from here? If the emails don't tell us everything, how do we get to the bottom of this?
I think we have to keep asking questions. We can't let the fact that it's complicated or uncomfortable stop us from trying to find out the truth.
Especially with all this money and politics mixed up in it. It's like, yeah, money talks.
But who's actually listening? And maybe more importantly, who's being silenced because of it?
Yeah, it's like there's a whole other world happening that we don't even see and maybe we're not supposed to.
Right. And it makes you think, if this is what we do, what else is hidden below the surface?
It feels like we're only scratching the surface with this whole Erdoes Epstein thing.
Exactly. It's like a tiny window into how these big financial institutions operate.
Like they're playing a different game with different rules.
It's like something out of a movie, all the secrets and the money and the power plays.
But it's not a movie, is it? This
Yeah.
is real life with real consequences.
And it reminds us that we can't just sit back and assume things are as they seem.
We have to keep asking questions even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's about powerful people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can't let them get away with just saying, trust us, we need transparency.
So if you could ask Mary Erdoes one question, just one, about all this, what would it be?
Oh, man, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think I'd have to ask, knowing what we know now about Epstein, would she still sit at that table with him at that dinner?
Wow, that's a good question. Actually, it's a question we all should be asking ourselves, right? It's not just about this case, but about everything. What are we willing to overlook? Who are we willing to support?
It's about making sure our actions line up with our values.
Exactly. And on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you next time.